The ground splits open beneath the Great Bronze Gate and you are running before you have consciously decided to run. Behind you, the outer canal wall, the one your grandfather helped engineer, the one that has held back the sea for 300 years, buckles and gives way in a single catastrophic instant. Seawater does not trickle in. It arrives like a wall. The Temple of Poseidon, its roof sheeted in orichalcum that has caught the sun every morning of your life, tilts and begins its long fall into water that should not be there. You do not look back again. This is the last hour Atlantis will ever have. But let us go back. Back before the ground remembered it was unstable. Back to the world Plato himself would one day describe. A world so extraordinary that for 2,500 years people would argue about whether it existed at all. This account comes from Plato, writing around 360 BC, who claimed the story reached him through a chain of Egyptian priests and Athenian statesmen, stretching back centuries. Whether Atlantis existed as history or endures only as philosophy remains genuinely unresolved. What follows is his description, brought fully to life. You live in the innermost ring of a city built as concentric circles, 3 rings of water, 2 rings of land, all centered on a hill where the temple of Poseidon and Cleito rises in gold, silver, and orichalcum, a metal so rare and lustrous that later ages would forget what it even was. Bridges wide enough for chariots span each ring. Canals deep enough for warships connect the rings to the open sea. This is not a myth city built from vague wonder. It is engineered with the precision of a civilization that has mastered water the way Rome would one day master stone. Your father serves in the city's council, one of 10 kings descended from Poseidon's sons, who govern the island and its territories together, bound by oaths carved into an orichalcum pillar at the temple's heart. The kingdom controls trade routes stretching toward Egypt and Italy. Elephants. Actual elephants, kept for their symbolic power as much as their labor, move through the outer ring's wide avenues. The docks along the canal handle more shipping in a day than most Mediterranean ports handle in a season. The hot and cold springs that feed the city's baths run naturally from the volcanic ground beneath. Warm water for public baths, cold water channeled separately for the royal gardens. An engineering gift from the same geology that will eventually destroy everything above it. You bathe in these waters every morning without a second thought. Nobody thinks about geology as danger when it has spent 3 centuries behaving like a gift. The temple complex itself defies ordinary description. Walls plated in silver, a roof of solid ivory inlaid with gold and orichalcum. Statues of Poseidon riding a chariot drawn by 6 winged horses, so large the sculptor needed the temple's full ceiling height to contain them. The wealth here has stopped functioning as mere wealth. It has become a form of religious argument. Proof, offered daily in gold and silver, that the gods favor this specific stretch of engineered water and stone above every other place on earth. For 9,000 years, according to the account, the kings honored their oath and kept the island in balance with the world beyond it. Then, gradually, the divine portion of their nature grew diluted through generations of intermarriage with mortals. The council grew more concerned with expansion than balance. Armies that had defended trade routes began to look at conquest instead. Zeus, seeing a civilization drifting from what it once was, called the gods to council to decide what should be done. You do not know any of this on the morning it begins. You know only that the ground trembles more than usual before dawn. A low, continuous tremor that rattles cups on tables and sends dust sifting down from ceiling beams across the city. Your father leaves for the council chamber before sunrise, his face carrying a weight you have not seen before. The elephants in the outer ring grow restless, refusing their handlers, straining against ropes toward the higher ground beyond the outermost wall. By midday, the tremors have not stopped. If anything, they are building, each one slightly stronger than the last. the intervals between them shortening. The harbor water in the canals begins behaving strangely, pulling back further than any tide should, exposing canal floors that have not seen open air in living memory, then rushing back in with unusual violence. Fishermen who have read this water their entire lives abandon their boats and run for the bridges. You feel it building in your chest, the way anyone feels catastrophe arriving before their mind fully accepts it. Something ancient and enormous is shifting beneath the island that has always felt as permanent as the sea around it. The final collapse takes a single day and a single night. The account is precise about this, and standing inside it, you understand why nobody who survived would have described it any other way. The ground splits along fault lines beneath the outer canal. Seawater breaches containment that is held for 3 centuries in less time than it takes to cross a bridge. The Temple of Poseidon, gold, silver, orichalcum, the 6-winged horses, everything that made the god's favor visible and countable, tilts into water that rises faster than anyone can run from it. You reach the outer wall as the second ring is already disappearing beneath dark water. Behind you, the sound is not screaming, so much as the enormous groan of a landscape rearranging itself. Stone, bronze, and centuries of engineering, giving way to physics that no oath to Poseidon was ever going to override. Ahead of you, higher ground, the last solid earth this island will offer anyone. You do not look back a third time. By morning, according to the account, the entire island has vanished beneath the sea in a single catastrophic night, leaving nothing behind but mud too shallow for ships to sail through, and a story that will outlast every stone the water swallowed. Whether Atlantis existed exactly as Plato described, existed in some altered form, or existed only as a philosophical device to warn Athens about the dangers of pride and imperial overreach, the story has survived for 24 centuries, precisely because it refuses to resolve. It appears in exactly 2 of Plato's dialogues, described with more geographic and engineering precision than any other myth from the ancient world, and then vanishes from every surviving Greek source that came before him. What remains certain is the warning embedded in the account regardless of its historical status. A civilization that mistakes its wealth for divine favor, that lets ambition erode the balance it once honored, does not require an external enemy to bring about its end. The ground it stands on will eventually remember what it always was. If this legend moved something in you, press like. It tells the algorithm that history and myth still matter. Subscribe for more first-person journeys through the ancient world. And tell me in the comments, do you think Atlantis was a real place, a distorted memory, or pure philosophy?